Hello everybody, Izzy here. This is part 16 in my Experiencing Dark Souls 3 series. I recorded this video game footage several weeks ago, and I'm going back over it now to talk about my experience with Dark Souls 3. When I first ran in here to fight this boss, I didn't know that there was a specific way to beat him. I'm playing blind and offline, so I hadn't seen any information about fighting this boss. Then I saw this gleaming treasure, which is always exciting. And the item that I picked up was a sword called the Storm Ruler. And when I read the description, it said it is especially effective against giants. One of the things that I love about Dark Souls games is when a boss requires a special way to kill them, and without that, they are going to be near impossible to kill. I'm sure there's some people that don't like it when this comes up and think it's unfair, but I generally love it and love the challenge. Because they put the item right next to the throne chair where the boss was, I was able to figure out this fight quite quickly without having to look anything up. And because it was so easy to just read the description, where it said it was effective against giants, it made the fight feel really fair. Here is the Storm Ruler. As you can see at the bottom, it says most effective when facing giants. I always like to give my new weapons a little test before I trudge into battle. And this Storm Ruler has some pretty neat attacks. I couldn't wait to try him out on the giant. And I could see right away from the first hit, this is a great weapon. It took a huge chunk of his hit points off. It does take a while with this weapon to get positioned correctly in order to prepare for the attack. But once you get that hit, it's well worth the effort. I think the difficulty was balanced quite well for this fight. And I think FromSoftware does a wonderful job in balancing difficulty and fairness. There has been a few instances throughout the Dark Souls series where they slightly unbalanced it in the unfair direction. For example, that first encounter with Seath the Scaleless, where you had to die that first time, and there was no way around it. A lot of people thought that was unfair and complained about it. I have always loved the way they balance the combat, and I think once again they did a beautiful job with that in Dark Souls 3. Next, I want to talk about cinematics in the Dark Souls games. I feel that FromSoftware is one of the only gaming companies that got cinematics right. They're short and quiet, with the most beautiful music, and they have a brooding, ominous atmosphere that leaves you completely satisfied in every way. They tend to come about every 40 hours or so of gameplay, so they're very rare, and that makes them feel very special when they do come, because you get to spend so much time playing the game that when the cinematic finally comes, and it's just this beautiful eye candy, you're just all eyes and ears. You're glued to the screen. Other games have cinematics way too often, with a bunch of characters just talking each other's ears off, with often poorly written and boring dialogue. They're way too long, and I just end up spamming the skip button and dreading when the next one's coming, because I just want to play. I don't just want to sit and watch cinematics. Otherwise, I would just watch a movie. And movies can be written just intensely magical. I'm sure games could be as well, but they tend to have a shallow aspect to them.
meets its one last lord. Prince Lothric is in your hands. Please save his soul.
How breathtaking was that? And it's balanced with all this beautiful combat. It's just perfect. I love the FromSoftware cinematics. I often feel a deep connection with the NPCs in the Dark Souls games because of the way they wrote them.
Prince Lothric is in your hands. Please save his soul. Tell him what he must be, a lord.
Sometimes in other games, I feel numb to the NPCs. And that's because there's just too much trite, boring dialogue. I want a deep experience when I play a game, or at least to have a blast in combat. How beautiful was that? Watching the dancer just come out of the ceiling like that. And then this graceful, beautiful fight happens. It's just perfect. The perfect balance of cinematics and combat to where you're just having the time of your life and completely enjoying the cinematics. When I fought the dancer, I had a difficult time, and I lost a lot. In this fight here, I lose. If you want to see my victory against the dancer, click on the link in the description below, and that video I show how to beat the dancer using a crossbow. You can also use a regular bow, but in that video I used my crossbow. Once I switched to the crossbow technique, I easily took out the dancer. Before that, I got a run for my money. It was intense. The brilliance that FromSoftware puts into their cinematics permeates every other aspect of their games. The gameplay is an extension of the cinematics, and vice versa. They beautifully blend into each other, and neither feels like an intrusion. And the beauty of the areas. My goodness. I can never get enough. I can't believe it took me so long to start playing the Dark Souls games. Once I started, I couldn't stop. They have a very addictive quality about them. And I don't find myself getting as burned out quite as fast when I take a turn on Dark Souls as I do on other games, even when the difficulty is extreme. Sometimes that'll turn to frustration, but often the challenge just makes me feel more addicted and more alive. Even the frustration makes me feel alive. And then I just want to keep playing and playing. There have been times when I would be on my, say, 30th attempt on a Dark Souls boss, and then maybe need a break. But we've all been there. How can you not get addicted when you see something that ominous, hidden in all this beautiful fog? It's mystical and magical. Armor has a deeper meaning in Dark Souls. I'm always looking at each new piece I get, reading its stats and bonuses. There's always so many hard fights where you need different resistances. It really makes the loot in this game more meaningful than a lot of other games. There are just so many special things about the Dark Souls games that I love. This was a great fight against this knight. And that creature was trying to creep up back there. Just the sound of these creatures put me on edge. What a lovely enemy. so much fun. I love it. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye.